elaborate on this task a little bit, as we've got a couple questions that I have received via Teams. So this is the assignment that we'll be working on, or the common assessment task, the CAT. It is now due on the 7th of April. That is the middle week of the school holidays. So I'm sure you can all get it done by then. It is not too much work, if I'm being completely honest, because you don't need to do that much research. You're just simply answering it in alignment with who you are. If you have done the character strength survey, it will make this a lot easier, as we'll be talking about personal character strengths. So the first part, which is right here, identifying personal factors. This is the first section that you'll be talking about yourself. All right. So when you are working this out and presenting it, I would really like these separated so I can tell what's what. If you're calling it part 1, you can call it part 1, or you can just use the heading and call it identifying personal factors. For those who are in class, I did this on a PowerPoint, but if you are not, I will upload it to Compass, and you can have a look in the Compass newsfeed for our class. That's where it should be. So in this first section, you have to identify 3 remarkable personal strengths that your superhero possesses, linked to your own personal character strengths. So if you've done the character strength survey, you can just pick any of the 3 in your top 20. It does not matter. Really, there is no wrong answer here. You then have to talk about within this section. If you pick courage, as it says here, you have to talk about how you are courageous. Or if you're empathetic, you need to tell me how you are empathetic. As it says here, you need to discuss how you believe you show these traits. The more detail, the better. All right. So the more the writing you do for this whole assignment, the better. The less likely you are to get a low grade mark, and the more likely you are to get a higher grade mark. So that's the first section. Then the second section, which is analyzing influences on identity, you have to use the same character strengths from the first one here. So the 3 personal character strengths. You need to use them to create 3 unique superpowers that directly relate to the superhero's personal strengths. So, for example, if you were to pick intelligence, do they have a really big brain and can they read minds? Maybe they could have something like that. If they're courageous, do they have if they are courageous, do they have superhuman strength? It doesn't matter what it is, but I need to know that it relates to that personal character strength. Does that make sense? I'm hoping so. If you don't understand that, you can send me a message on Teams. And then lastly, you need to explain how this can be used in battle. So, as I said, if you've got superhuman strength, how does the character use that in a battle? If someone can read minds, how do they use it in a battle? I'm sure you can all figure out what that means and how each personal character strength can affect, I guess, a fight if you were a superhero. So next one, recognizing challenges or fears. So once again, these are just 2 challenges or fears that you have and therefore your superhero may grapple with. It doesn't matter whether it's personal, emotional, or social. So I said to a couple of students that one of the personal fears of mine is horses. I'm scared of horses. They're very big and they scare me. Like they could easily step on me and hurt me a lot. They scare me, all right? So that would be one of mine. Fear of horses. Maybe I could do that. I also don't like heights, I guess you could say. I don't know, that's not true, but you could say your superhero is scared of heights. You could also say that your superhero is scared of speaking to people that they don't know. It does not matter what the challenge or fear is that you have. Basically, just writing this down, and then once again, you're going to talk about how this would weaken your superhero in battle. So, as I said, if I'm scared of horses, if the superhero comes in on a horse, I'm going to be very scared to fight that person, aren't I? Or if I'm scared of speaking to new people, if the other superhero that's fighting me comes up to me and tries to make conversation, I'm going to be scared and I'm going to run away. I hope that makes sense. Section 4 is the proposing strategies to overcome these challenges. So basically, you just need to develop a plan for how your superhero can overcome these fears or challenges. This section is designed for you to realize that you may have the ability to change your fears or challenges, because we all have the ability to do that. I understand it is hard, but this is what this section is about. If you want, you may look this up on Google. I feel like you can probably come up with some things in your head, but Google's probably going to have some pretty concrete answers on how to overcome some challenges or fears that you may have. And then lastly, once again, we're linking back to the superhero. So what are you going to do if your nemesis uses this in a battle against you? Obviously, that's up to you. It depends on what's going on. Then there's the last two sections. This is the fun part, all right? You get to create the superhero identity. You need to give your superhero a catchy and memorable name. You need to design a visually appealing costume that reflects their personality and powers. So, as I said, if you're going with something like empathy, how do you display empathy in a costume? How do you display courage in a costume? You just need to think about these things, all right? You also need to create a logo or a symbol for your superhero. I'm assuming most of you, if you've created this logo or symbol, you're probably going to put it on your superhero's costume, but I would also like it separately. You can make this logo about your character strengths, but you need to make this logo about your character strengths, all right? I can give you an example of this on the PowerPoint, which will be on the Compass newsfeed for 7 HPE. And then that is up to you. So this last section is the optional extension. I would recommend doing this. You're going to get higher marks on your cat if you do it. Obviously, if you don't do it, you don't get marked down, but you'll just get bonus points if you do this section. So basically, if you were talking about this, you're just going to make a brief origin story, explains how your superhero got their superpowers and how they've decided to use them for the greater good. So you think about Batman. Batman became a superhero because his parents were murdered by someone bad, I think. I don't watch Batman, but I think that's what's happened. So that's why he became a superhero, and he wanted to destroy all bad people in Gotham City, I think, because of the bad people that that killed his parents. The last one is actually not a section you need to do, but this is something of the way that how you're creating your presentation. So if you're using a poster, does it look good? Does it make sense? Am I able to read it? If you're using a PowerPoint, has it got nice pictures? Is it easy to read? Is it not just boring, pretty much? So try to make it as colorful and appealing as possible. Make me want to read it, if that makes sense. If I see something that's on a plain blank piece of paper and it's just white, am I going to want to read that over something that's got pictures and it's got lots of colors and it's got bold headings and the headings are maybe in different colors and it's got different fonts and stuff like that? Obviously, up to you. It does not matter. And obviously, you've got the rubric here. I'm hoping we are all aiming for this at the very end. If you are not, you should at least be aiming for this. But I think this is quite easy to obtain in year 7 for this unit. So I hope we're all aiming for this. Doesn't mean everyone will always get this, but you should be aiming for that section as much as you possibly can. Obviously, I think that's it from me. If you have any questions or queries about this assignment, again, please reach out to me on Teams and I'll do my best to give you a hand. Thank you all. Enjoy your week, your day, and your holidays.